I mean, here's a girl that was saved from this, right? And wanted to follow God, and they were out their money. And so there's that persecution that took place. And this continued again, even in the Roman Empire, when businesses were hindered. We also find in Ephesus, where you had the great temple of Diana. And that would have been a definite problem in that city, where the great temple of Diana was it was a social center, it was a religious center. They had art there, they had banks there. But again, Christianity taught there's one true God, and this great goddess, the Diana that you worship, is not a true God. Again, you can imagine some of the problems that Christians might have had from those that did not follow God. Then you had this idea of superstition. They would charge Christians with anything, some of them, the bad that happened. Whether it was a famine, whether it was plagues that took place, sicknesses. Sometimes they would try to blame that on Christianity, even though it had nothing to do with Christianity. And so Christianity would get blamed by those that would want to persecute or be enemies of the church. Another thing that they sometimes accused Christians of, from what I remember about history, is they would accuse Christians of being involved in eating cannibalism, for example. Why would they ever accuse Christianity of that?
Because Jesus said, "This is my body and this is my blood."
Yeah, and somebody that did not understand what was going on, or maybe they did and they falsely accused them, they would accuse them of cannibalism. Because, again, they didn't understand the Lord's Supper and what it was all about. And the terminology that was often used was, again, used against Christianity. One of the other common ones that I remember was some of them accused Christians of, for example, brothers and sisters that would get married because they referred to themselves as brothers and sisters in Christ. And so that was an accusation that sometimes came as a result of the terminology and what they used by the enemies of the church. So again, you had people that raised false superstitions about the Christians. Does that occur today? It definitely can. Have you ever run into anybody that has had something they've heard about the church, and you had to really talk to them and study with them because what they had heard from somebody was totally off base, wasn't true? Can you give me an example? Some of you shaking your heads. I know a couple I've dealt with, yes?
When I was in marriage counseling with a non-Christian preacher that my wife was going to, he said, "Well, you're a Church of Christ, you don't believe in the Old Testament."
Okay, all right.
And I didn't get into an argument with him because he was looking for an argument.
Right. And again, some of that comes from what people may read today. They may read on the internet from somebody that's upset, angry, and they put stuff out. But again, it could be from their background. Maybe they have talked to somebody in their family that had a misunderstanding about Christianity and the church. And so you can run into that even today. False superstitions or false accusations against the church. We also had Stoicism and Stoic and Epicurean philosophies. I encourage you to look that up because we don't have time to really get into that. But the behavior of Christians under these persecutions and the reasons for them is really amazing because there were thousands that held to their faith. Romans chapter 5, 1 through 5. Who has that one?
I have First
You
Peter.
do. No, Romans 5, 1 through 5. Do you have it, Grant?
Yes.
Okay.
Therefore, since we have been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. Through him we have also obtained access by faith into this grace in which we stand, and we rejoice in the hope of the glory of God. More than that, we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us.
And we could go on from there, but notice, what does it say about sufferings? Paul writes this to Christians. And what does he say in verse 3? He starts out by saying, we rejoice in what? I mean, how many of you ever rejoiced in sufferings you've gone through as a Christian? I mean, how is that possible to rejoice if you're a Christian? Not everything you suffer in this life for whatever reason, but particularly when you suffer because you are a Christian. Maybe you are a Christian and you are honest, and you suffer as a result of that.
Yes.
Because someone wants to be dishonest for, I don't know, might be in business or your friends or what have you, and you're really shunned, or you suffer maybe losing friends, so forth, as a result of that, or business as a result of it. Have you ever thought about that? That's something that is not a negative thing. When you suffer for the cause of Christ, because you're a child of God, because you hold fast to your faith, that Paul says that we're to rejoice in those type of sufferings. He goes on to say, notice again what he read, that suffering produces what?
Endurance.
Endurance, and that produces
Character.
character, and that produces hope, right? And he gets into the point about God's love being poured out into our lives. So, again, as we close the lesson today, at least, hopefully you've been maybe a little informed. Some of this you may have heard before. A lot of times we don't talk much about church history because this occurred after the scriptures were given to us. But it was a period, again, of great persecution. Yet it can encourage us through whatever we face in life to be just as faithful as many of our brethren were 2,000 years ago. Thank you for your attention, and we'll have a devotional in just a few moments.